Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Excel. So on the screen I've got some raw data. I'm going to create a basic pivot table from this data. Now if the data is going to grow or shrink, you might want to format this data as a table, or you might want to name the data. If I highlight across the top there, I can name this, and I have done data. Or like I said, if I go into home, format as a table, let's pick one of these styles. Make sure it's got a tick next to my table as headers. Okay. And then that becomes a table. The benefit of doing that is as this table grows, it will just pick it up. It just sees it. You can also name it. If I go up there, I'll call this raw data. So now that's going to grow as I do my pivot table, if my pivot table changes. So to create a pivot table, you go in Insert Pivot Table. It's picking up raw data, which is great. I'm going to put it on this worksheet for now. I'm just going to put it into G1 and then click OK to that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ability to change this layout. So normally the layout is not like this. It's normally like that, which in the past has caused me problems, particularly on a laptop where everything can be squashed up and you can't actually see the full contents of these boxes. So it's quite cool to be able to change that layout like that. So same four boxes. I want to put location into row, so I'm dragging and dropping that in there. You can tick it. When you tick it, the computer puts it where it thinks. Sales I'm going to put into values because that's what I want to analyze. Now these are not formatted to anything, so I'm going to right click and go to number format and select accounting. That will be dynamic. Now the first thing I want to do is highlight this and add some conditional formatting. So I'm going back to home and I'm going to put a data bar on there. Go for this one. Solid data bar. Now I can see the figures. I don't want to see the figures, so I'm going back in there, manage rules, edit the data bar rule. I just tick this little box there, show data only, clicking OK to that, and OK again. Now that shows me the data, but it doesn't show me the figures. So what you have to do is bring sales back again and just sit it on top of that one so it comes in here. I'll have to reformat that again. So let's just go back to number format, counting, OK. Then I can rename the label, put bar there, and I'll put sales here. I have to do a little space there, and I can just put location up there, and I can't use the same word as the column. I'll just put a space after it, and then I can use the same word, so I can't use that name there, location. So that's the first thing, a little data bar. Now if you want to do a calculation on this table, what you have to do is go to pivot table, analyze, field, item, and sets, calculated field. So what I want to do first of all is go for markup, and let's say I want a 10% markup on the sales field. So I'm going to double click on sales, which puts it up there. I'm going to go times 1.1. So that'll be a 10% markup on that figure. So I click OK, and then it shows you a 10% markup, and you can see that there. And again, I'll change the label, markup. Can't have that word, but I can have a space after it, and it let me do that. So remember, all of this is dynamic. Now you can actually group data in a pivot table, but what I want to do before I do the grouping is let's just pull out location from rows and put date in there. Now date will automatically group, as you can see there, it's automatically grouped it, and you can drill down to see relevant data for that period. You can also knock that grouping off. If I right click on there and go into group, I can change that grouping. So instead of having months and quarters, I might just want years, or I want years and quarters. So go back into group and just tick quarters like so. So that's you changing the group for dates. Now you can also do that for products. Now if I just go into a different example, go into this one, which is just about courses, and do myself a little pivot table. I'll just leave it picking up that data. I'll get it to go into F1. So in this one, I'll have courses in rows. It'll give me a list of courses, and we'll have cost in values, and I'll put course in there as well, so it counts that also. So I've got that. Right click in there, set in the number format to accounting. Okay. So now to group this, these are all Microsoft courses, but Project and Visio, these two, are not part of Microsoft Office. So I've highlighted those, get my mouse, drag them down below Word. So at the bottom, then I can highlight the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, can't count. Top 4, right click, group. So I'm creating this group myself. When you create a group, it becomes group 1. Everything else becomes a group of itself. But I want these two also to be a group. So highlight, right click, group, and they become group 2. I can overtype that, MSO, and non-MSO. Now with all fields, if you want to pull off this information, it's this Excel training figure here. If I double click that, it will extract from the raw data all of the Excel information. I'll just go back, practice 1. If I collapse this down so it's just showing me the summary, like that, even though I created these groups, again, if I double click on these figures, that is just pulling off the Microsoft Office information, like so. Now, you can also, if I just open this up, display the data. If I just right click on some of this information, you've got show value as, this whole list of information, different ways of displaying information, like percentage difference from and things like that. Now I've already got an example of that set up here. So if I just go into this one, so we've got some sales figures here for the UK. So basically I've put quarter in rows and UK and the percentage difference in columns, in value, should I say. So let's just do that for the US. So I'll create a new pivot table, insert pivot table. I'll put this underneath this one in there. Okay to that. So I want quarter in rows. I want US in values. So that gives me the figure, the actual score on the door if you like, but I want US there again. But this time I need to either, you can do it through here. If I click on there, you can go into value field settings and show value as and through this box, but it's probably quicker to right click on it and then show value as. So I want percentage difference from that one. And then it says there quarter. And then if I just change that down, previous quarter, it's not previous one, it's the previous column. So it'll do it on that column. Okay. And then that should show that in the percentage terms. So that's the percentage difference. And again, you can change that label just to put percentage diff there, like it is on that one. Make it a bit bigger. So that's percentage difference. Now, if I go back to the other example, even if you have a filter, I haven't got a filter, but let's put location in filter. Now, there's quite a lot of these, not that many, but there is a feature that you can use. If you go back to pivot table analyze and go into the options bit, if you've got a filter, it says show report for filtered pages. So what's going to happen here is for each location, it's going to give me a page in this spreadsheet, in this workbook, should I say. Click on that. Location is what the filter is. You might have more than one. That's why it's giving you the option here. Okay to that. So that summarized it. There you've got Derby, Hull, Leeds, all the way like that. And then if I come back onto practice 1 and back to that one. So it's created all these sheets, separate sheets, like a report for each of those locations, as you can see there. Now you can also, if you've got date fields, if I go back to the first one, first example we did, which is raw data even, that one. What you can use, I'm going to pull some of these date fields out of here. So I don't want date in there. So get rid of that and I'll put location back in there. Let's get rid of markup. And let's get rid of the bar. So I've just got the straightforward pivot table there. I want to put a timeline on there. So if I go insert timeline, there's only one date field. You'll get a timeline if there's a date field. Clicking OK to that. And there is the timeline. And then you can just filter the data via this timeline, like so. You can also extend the timeline if you so wish. It's just a filter. You've also got up there the ability to put a slicer on. So instead of putting the field in the filter area, you can just go to pivot table, analyze, and select insert slicer, which will give you the option of all your fields, like so. Well, the location's already there, so I'll just do salesperson. OK to that, and then I get a filter, a slicer for salesperson, and that one is being formatted by myself, which I don't like anymore. So I'll go change that color, like so. So you go. You can filter that information using this slicer. You hold your control key down, you can click on multiple options, and again it's just a filter. You take that off. The last thing I want to do is a chart, so I'm going to pivot table, analyze, pivot chart, selecting the option I want, clicking OK, and then moving it to where I want it to be. So in this example I don't need labels, get rid of that, and because there's too much information going on now, if I right click in the top right hand corner, I can move chart to a separate sheet, new sheet, give it a name if you want, click OK, then it sits on its own sheet. It's gone to the left of where we were, raw data, so we're back to this. So that's creating a chart. So that's all I want to talk about in this little video. Hopefully it's been of use. Thank you for your time. I'll catch you on the next one.